When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hi, I'm John Mallows. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. And today it's on the air, off the presses. We're talking with two members of the Rampage. That is the Fresno City College newspaper. 436 Me TV, option 11, waiting for your phone calls and our two guests in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And welcome back to the program here on a Monday morning. It's on the air, off the presses. You're watching us live on Comcast, channel 187, 43.6. And of course, now you're watching us live on 13.1. And you can watch the replay later today on Biz TV and also YouTube. And so this is the paper that we're talking about this morning. It's called the Rampage. And it's about a 12-page newspaper that is on the campus at Fresno City College. And you might recall a couple of months ago, or actually longer than that, I think it was earlier this year sometime, we had two members from the Rampage here on this program for an on-the-air, off-the-presses program, and we got quite a few phone calls, and I hope that's the case today at 436 Me TV, option 11, the official newspaper of Fresno City College. Let's go to the videotape, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, take you out to the campus there, and show you where and how you can get the copy of the Rampage. It is free of charge, by the way. As you can see there, it's available to any of the students just walking by, picking up their copy from any of the kiosks at the various locations, I guess, on campus. Question today is, what does the Rampage cover in terms of news? Is it strictly life on campus, or do reporters and editors look for events going on around the city? Do they report on politics and other newsmakers in the Central Valley? And who else besides the students read the paper? You're looking at the editor-in-chief right there. She is Lauren Baker. Now keep in mind, the Rampage comes out every other week. As I said in the opening, it's about 12 pages long. And also keep in mind that those who are working, those students who work at the paper right now, are in the process of learning their trade, and they are the future journalists of America. And so they could be working anywhere across the country at any time in the near future. Live in our studio right now is Editor-in-Chief Lauren Baker, of course, and Crescencio Rodriguez. They both work at the newspaper. They're here waiting for your phone calls. It's on the air, off the presses, 436 Me TV, option 11. Call in, ask a question about the two people working at the Rampage, the official paper of Fresno City College. Back with our program in a moment.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin McCullough.
Now, before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
And you are starting your week off right.
.436 Me TV, option 11 here on Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. It's on the air, off the presses, talking to two members from the Rampage here at Fresno City College. And welcome, Lauren.
Hi, John.
Crescencio, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here this morning. So I talked about the newspaper a little bit in the beginning. We have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover here in the next hour. So I guess the questions that I posed, what do you cover in the paper? Is it life on campus, politics on campus? Do you cover anything outside the campus? Who reads the paper? Where do you pick it up? I guess we have to answer all these questions, right?
Right.
Okay, why don't you pick it up, Lauren, first?
As far as content, we try to cover everything on campus, whether it be district things, policy things, student life, campus events, and we go as far as covering events that happen in the Tower District and sometimes downtown Fresno as well. We try to keep it local and relevant to the average Fresno City College student and perhaps the faculty as well, since the faculty does make a big chunk of our reader group.
Okay, so you do cover parts of the tower, right?
Yes, we do.
The events that go on at the tower. Hey, by the way, did you know that Billy Bean is holding a town hall meeting there in the Tower District? I believe sometime on November the 4th.
I believe I heard something about that, yes.
Yeah, you know, he's the general manager of the Oakland A's, and that's a pretty big deal for Fresno to have this guy come in here and have like an open forum, a Q&A. Pretty big thing. Will you be covering that?
We would like to, yes. Because we make up a budget every issue of what we're going to cover, and we add and subtract as need be. So we have a plan of action. If things happen on the spot, then we do try to cover them if we can.
And what are the types of things that you cover for downtown Fresno, let's say?
It would normally be entertainment type things, or if there's something like a protest or things like that. If it's like a news-based thing where it would affect everybody, like if it's something that would affect the Fresno City College reader, then we would cover it, or something that would affect everyone to a certain degree.
Yeah. And Crescencio, what is your position there? I know Lauren is the editor-in-chief, and you pretty much decide what's going to go in the paper. We'll talk about that. But what's your job specifically?
What I do at the Rampage is I'm a news reporter. So I write news mostly. We're told to write for every section, but I mostly stick to news. So, you know, since I started last semester, that's all that I've been writing for news.
And so why did you get involved with the newspaper? Why newspaper writing? I mean, you're basically, it's like being a member of the media.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You have credentials. You can go anywhere and cover any event in the city. Why this? Why'd you choose this?
Well, before actually joining the Rampage, I didn't know that we had these privileges of getting a Rampage pass and getting access to things that most others don't get access to. So, but I joined the Rampage because my major is in journalism.
It is?
Yeah. So,
okay.
you know, and I wanted to join the paper my first semester at the college, but I wasn't sure of what the class was or what you needed to be in the paper. So once I found out, you know, that it wasn't that much to get in the paper, I decided to join to get experience into what I really wanted to do.
So right now you're in the process of gaining your experience as a reporter. What have you learned so far, and what mistakes have you made in your opinion?
Well, I've done a lot of stuff. Yeah, mostly everything that I've done or learned at the Rampage is unlike anything that I've ever seen or done before. Because
well, expand on that if you would.
Because journalism wasn't near my thoughts of what I wanted to major in before.
Yeah.
So
why is it now?
I don't know what it was. Since I was a kid, I used to live in a small town. So whenever we had stuff going on, and we had the media come, I always used to like to see the reporters come out of their vans and with the microphones and be in front of the camera. So I told myself that I wanted to be that someday. So then, you know, I found out that it wasn't only on TV, but it was also papers. So then I said, okay, well, maybe I'll give a shot, you know, at writing for a paper. So then, but yeah, everything that I've learned so far, it's been amazing. So, you know, it's been everything from actual news writing, because it's not the same as writing for your English class essays. It's not the same. It's way different.
Right.
Yeah. So there's an actual style that we have to stick to, and I didn't know that. So, but learning that, you know, it's something great that I can take with me forever.
So how is it different than writing a paper for, say, English class or science or any of those classes?
Well, one of the things that we try to do is we try to keep our paragraphs as short as possible, so that the readers, you know, will take an interest in actually reading it. Because I know personally, if I see a paper on there, if the paragraph is like, you know, 10 sentences long, I wouldn't want to read it. Yeah. If it's, you know, at least one sentence or two sentences, then maybe I'll give it a try.
The dog jumped over the fence. Period.
Period. Yeah, I'll read that. Yeah.
Just give us the facts.
Yeah, facts first, and then yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much what I've learned, and it's been great.
Yeah. Yeah. What quickly? What do you think in terms of? And I don't want to focus on any negative stuff, but I'm just curious what you've learned. What kind of mistakes have you made that you've corrected at this point? Maybe when you first came in and thought, oh, maybe I should be doing it this way, and I covered that story, and if I cover that again, I'll change it.
Well, one of the mistakes that I can think of off the top of my head is, you know, one of the mistakes that we probably should never do. It's I actually changed somebody's last name on the paper. It wasn't their actual last name. Yeah. So that's something that I probably won't never do again.
How dare
I have
you?
to fact check everything. Yeah. So, you know.
Did that go to print, by the way?
It did.
It
Yeah,
did. It went to print.
It went to print,
yeah.
and I was told afterwards that it was a wrong last name. And then I felt bad afterwards, but
you didn't. Did you do that consciously or?
I don't know.
You're not
it was
sure.
something that happened. Yeah.
You're not sure. It just
And
happened.
One of the things that I actually didn't do was I didn't really ask for his name when I interviewed him. So it's, you know, whenever you're in the moment of an interview, you seem to forget things. So whenever
Yeah, I
I was
know.
asking him the questions and I was done, so I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm about to go. So I didn't ask for his name or his major or anything like that.
Yeah, don't feel bad because I've done that many times.
Yeah.
You know, I interview someone and I say, "Oh gosh, I should have asked this.
Yeah.
Why didn't I ask that?"
Yeah.
It's the pressure of the moment to get your interview and get all
Yeah.
the facts.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, we're talking with Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez, both from the Rampage, and the paper's right here from Fresno City College. Hey, these are young kids. They're the future of the business, the media business. 436 MeTV option 11. A lot to talk about, and I'm sure you have a lot on your mind to ask. Back in just a moment.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
And back here on the program, talking with 2 members of the Rampage, the Fresno City paper here, 2 future journalists. They're young. You're 19. You're what? 24. So see, they are the future of our business here in the media. And so, editor-in-chief. Now, what is the editor-in-chief? What kind of responsibilities do you have?
My responsibilities are pretty much just putting the oil in the machine for the most part. Like,
What does that mean?
making sure everything runs efficiently. I put together our budget, which is a compiled list of all the content we're going to cover.
Now, do you have a budget for each issue? It comes out every other week?
Yes, there's a budget for every issue and
Really?
for every section of the paper. So it's just an
You're
organized
kidding.
list. Yes.
Huh.
So it's just like it's basically a spreadsheet that says every story that's assigned for every section, who's going to write it,
Okay.
who the section editor is, what the word count is, when it's due, and that's kind of how we keep track of everything that's going on. And besides email, you can put whether or not the story's coming in on that list and whether or not whether we're going to get it or not, and even what photos need to go, like which stories are going to have photos, what's going to even have an illustration, things of that nature.
So you decide that.
I decide it initially, but then I leave it up to our section editors to decide what they're going to run from what I've put on there.
All right, the paper that I have now is like 12 pages long. So how many other editors do you have besides yourself? You're the editor-in-chief, which means you oversee the entire paper?
Yes.
Okay, so how many other editors are there?
There's an editor for every section. So we have a news editor, who is Patrick Forrest. We have
Okay.
an A&E editor, which is Yolanda Garzon. We have the opinion editor, Jarrett Ramones. And our sports editor, Keandre Clark. Crescencio also serves as our multimedia editor, and we have a photo editor who oversees every
photo.
Yeah, and the photographers that do that, which is Desiree Aranjo.
I see you have a cartoon here too. Now, where'd you get that?
We have illustrators in the class as
You
well.
have illustrators as
Yes, we
well
do.
in the class.
I started out as one.
You started out as an illustrator,
Yes.
and you're talking. The opinion page here is about President Obama, of course, and so the budget, say for this issue, was about how much, approximately?
It's not necessarily where you can say how much. It's just a list. Like, there's no money involved. The budget's just a fancy word for, like.
But to print this, it cost X amount of dollars, right? Where's this printed, by the way?
Oh,
Where do you have this
gosh.
printed?
I think it's called Willems Printing in Fowler.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they've
Yeah,
actually
free
been
prints.
guests here on our program.
Okay.
And but there's a budget for each each issue, so that means what? You got maybe $1,000 to work with each issue, or
I think
less?
that it's more or less what our department, like it's decided before the semester, I believe, so we already know what we can do, and like it's taken care of before it goes to print.
Right.
We usually get 3,000 copies for every issue.
Every issue, oh, it's about 3,000 copies?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
I just tuned in, so I don't know if you've already talked about this, but they were going to have a forum for the presidents of the institutions of higher learning in the Valley. Pacific College, I think, Fresno State, and Cantu from Fresno City College were all going to answer questions in the old auditorium building. Did that happen? And if so, did one of your guests cover it? And if so, what came out of it? I'd like to hear a little bit about it.
I think that forum was canceled, wasn't it?
I believe so, because that's nothing that we've planned on covering as far as I know.
Yeah, and it was actually, the forum was supposed to happen the same day that our paper went to print. So we wouldn't have been able to cover it.
And it was your president, the president of Fresno State, and one other.
Fresno Pacific.
Fresno Pacific,
Yeah,
but the guy at Fresno Pacific, I believe,
he retired.
He either
quit.
resigned or retired or something like that. So that never took place, and you never covered that. So getting back to your position here, Lauren, this paper comes out every other week.
Yes.
So when is the next issue out?
October 29th.
Okay, the 29th, so that'd be this coming Friday? No,
it's always a Wednesday.
The following Wednesday. So when do you start deciding what's going to go in the paper? About a week and a half or two in advance?
Yeah, it's usually the Monday prior to our production process, which is usually like now, kind of like we're already figuring out what's going to be going in issue 6 while we're working on issue 5. So it's always probably like the Monday prior, because our production cycles start on Fridays and they end on the Tuesday before we print.
So for the paper that's going to come out on the 29th, you've already decided what stories are going to go in the paper?
We haven't decided. We're looking for it. We're looking for the content right now, and we'll probably decide by this Friday what's going to be going in issue 6.
Okay, so you'll have it mapped out by the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you decide what to cover? How do you decide that?
You mean like what we're going to put in the budget, for example?
Well, not necessarily the budget, but how do you decide what stories you're going to cover? What stories are going to go in the paper?
Depending on which section is, like if it's news, for example, it depends on when is it going to happen and how important is it. That's pretty much what we do, how I decide for news. Like, is this something that readers should know about right now, and when is it going to happen? How close is it? How relevant is it? And if it's an A&E story, it's kind of the same thing, because A&E is kind of like the love child between news and opinion. So it's like, where is it? How big is it? And like, what can we do with this if we have it? Like, how much? Like, we try to make it fun.
Yeah.
And sports, I think anything that happens in sports, we try to get as much of it as we can, because I'm limited with my sports knowledge, so it just depends. Like, I try to get as much sports content as we can.
Yeah. Okay. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question to both of your personnel there. She's the chief editor watching over all the issues and whatever, and my understanding is she oversees everything and the reporters. Does she have arguments with her reporters or other chief editors about what story goes in, and she might decide, well, this one's better suited this time? And I'm pretty sure she does get into it with her personnel. She's smiling, so I know for sure she does. It's just like John. John has when he's talking to the people, he gives his point of views. Now, have you ever been wrong when you've given a story and that wasn't really actually the story you should have gone with? And your report is the same way. You're young, you're learning the business and all that. We need that. We need Hispanics and all that, because they're not really aware of what goes on. Okay, a lot of them work and whatever. That's not an excuse. But the thing is that they have a different atmosphere. So the better that you are able to provide, whether it be in Spanish and English, it's going to help them in the long run to understand what the government is doing here, because you can ask them any question about anything, has nothing to do with the, but a lot of them don't know, They have to see TV, but a lot of them don't have time to see it, So it's up to you as the chief editor and your partner, their reporter, to give the best reporting he can do, okay? Because it's just not the issue at the time that you want to give it like it's every other week. They all, because you have so much internet and cable and all that, they'll go into that. So it's up to you to make the issues interesting for the people to say, I want to continue to read the paper, because as far as the papers are concerned, like the Fresno being all that, that's going to be obsolete.
All right.
I can remember it being a big thing, but that's all I wanted to ask, just you two.
Okay, thank you. So you get into arguments with your reporter here and other people in the newsroom about what's going to go in the paper?
Sometimes, but we do sometimes, but it's never like a hugely heated thing. Like eventually we can sort it out. I think it's just more of an intellectual argument, so to speak, such as like, well, why do you think this should be in here if I don't think so? And then if we can find a way to settle our differences and talk about it logically, it works out. Like he and I don't think have ever had an argument personally.
Right.
But it happens time to time, but it can be resolved. It can be
But
resolved.
it's a healthy discussion, because
Yes.
disagreements are good. That means everybody's interested. Everybody is willing to put their 2 cents in, even though you might not agree. So I want to ask you about these front page stories here in this particular issue, but we're going to come back after a break here talking with Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez, both of the Rampage, Fresno City College, 436, MeTV option 11, and also call in, offer your question, your opinion about what's happening here with the Rampage. Back in just a moment.
Euronews, most watched news channel in Europe.
Back here on the show, and the Rampage is the paper out at Fresno City College. And how many of these do you print up every other week?
It's one bi-weekly, just one.
No, I mean, how many issues? How many of these papers? I mean, you can't just print one of these.
I'm sorry. We print 3,000 every 2 weeks. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
3,000 in. So where can you get these? Just on campus, or is it someplace else?
No. We have them all over our kiosks on campus. We deliver them to the Tower District, our district offices, and some other campuses such as Reedley College and Fresno Pacific. We mail copies to them as well.
There's one of the kiosks. I guess that is on campus. Now, how many kiosks do you have on campus?
Ooh,
quite a few.
Yeah.
I would
say about
imagine.
5.
Yeah.
You have about at least 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they all carry the Rampage in there. And then, so these are on display also in the tower?
Yes, we drop them off at a couple of locations. We tend to have them at Teasers. Sometimes.
How about downtown Fresno? Some places down there as well?
Sometimes, not lately we haven't, but we've been known to do that a couple of times, particularly if we're featuring something from downtown in there.
Yeah. And so do you write about stories? I know I asked you kind of, I guess I kind of touched on this earlier, but I mean, campus news is the most important news that goes in the paper, right?
Yes.
Because people want to know what's going on campus. Am I right, Crescencio?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. We try to cover, for example, whenever I think it was our second issue, we had a little incident in the financial aid office, and most students were not aware of it.
Was that?
It was where 2 students, they throw in to come back with guns.
They what?
They throw in to come back with guns.
They threatened to come back with guns.
Yeah, and so.
Was that in the student aid office, you said?
Financial aid.
Financial aid.
Yeah. And so a lot of students were not aware of that, not even myself until I heard about it.
And why do you think that's important for people on campus to know about that?
Well, I think it's important to be aware of that those things actually do go on. And
why?
So just so that, if in the event that it happens again, we're more aware and we're more prepared.
Yeah, and so you covered that story?
It was actually my news editor that covered it. He it was one of those like breaking news stories. So our paper didn't come out, I guess, for like a week, and so that happened, and so he heard about it. So he went to the financial aid office and covered it.
Is there a story that you wouldn't touch because it's too sensitive? Say an event or a particular person on campus that might be with the administration. In other words, do you truly have freedom of press on campus?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but a couple times a semester, or I would say a year, we have the people from, I don't know where they're from, but they come on campus and they bring big posters about aborted fetuses. And they stand all around campus and they pass out pamphlets and pictures and all these things. And I asked my news editor, can we cover this? And but we both agreed. We said it's best if we don't.
Why?
I don't know. It's one of those things where people might not be comfortable.
So they weren't. So were they protesters?
No, they weren't protesters. They were more like. Well, I guess they
informants.
Yeah, informants. Yeah.
So they were against abortion.
Yeah.
Okay, if they were pro-abortion, would you have covered it?
It's one of those things where if we cover one side, we have to cover the other side. So if we cover the people who are pro-abortion, we would have to go and ask people who are against abortion.
Right.
So it's more of a conflict there,
But
really
I guess what I'm asking is, isn't it a newsworthy event that these people are on campus to begin with?
It is, yeah.
So in retrospect, maybe you should have covered it. I don't know.
But the thing is that they're not. If we would have covered it, it would have been more of a thing where they came. They've never came before, so they come now. But they're always there. So it's one of those things that's always happening. So if we cover it once, and we have to do it again, it's one of those things that we don't want to keep repeating in our paper.
And then if you do cover it, you'll have to talk to the other side.
Yes.
The ones that are pro-abortion and how they feel about them coming on campus. Because I'm sure that there are students on campus that are pro-abortion and anti-abortion.
Yeah.
I don't know that there are any protest or clashes between the two groups there. I'm not aware of any of that, but
we haven't seen anything like that at the college.
No, we usually only see the one side, which is the against side.
Yeah. It's the only side that comes out. And it's fair to cover both sides.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not sure if you have total freedom of press. I don't know if you can answer that, Lauren.
I feel like we do for the most part. I can't think of an example necessarily where we don't, but I mean, I suppose like if it's happening, just be there and cover. That's just kind of how I see it. If you can do it, you should. I mean, I can't think of like a personal limit or anything that we've seen that we just couldn't. I think the only story we've ever done, which was remotely an uncomfortable conflict of interest, was the incident where a professor and a member of our staff had a physical altercation on campus, and we did cover it, but it was tricky just because she happened to be our staff member, but it's a story we would cover even if she wasn't. So it was just tricky because we had to make sure that while she was talked about, we also gave his side as well.
Okay, so you're talking about Brian Calhoun, the
Yes.
former city councilman, who is, I don't think he works there anymore,
No.
does he?
No.
Yeah, he doesn't. And so did you cover that story? It was well publicized in the
Yes.
Fresno Bee. And how did you cover it from your perspective?
I personally did not cover it, but like our staff did, of course, and
How was it handled?
it was handled very delicately. We made sure that we did not we didn't make it seem like we thought that she was just the good person and like he did everything wrong. We made sure to show both sides of both people, so it didn't look like we were being biased or anything like that. So we were very detailed on both people and making sure that we just covered every detail that we could get, so that we didn't look like we were taking sides or just making it seem like we're highlighting someone who's on our staff because they're on our staff.
Did anyone from the school or anybody on campus or anybody from the administration tell you, hey, be careful how you handle this story with the campus newspaper?
Not that I'm aware of, and I only say that because I wasn't involved with writing that story.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear of anyone saying like you shouldn't do that by any means.
Yeah. Or don't talk to that person, or be careful when you talk. Yeah, I understand. And so Those are sensitive issues. And so, let's say, I'm just going to bring up some scenario. Let's say there's some scandal involving some, like this Brian Calhoun, that was kind of a scandal, I guess. If there was a scandal involving a high-ranking official there at the school, an administrative official, would you be discouraged from covering it, or no?
No.
Not really?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Right. Fair enough. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. Hey, caller, go ahead. Oops. Okay. All right. Lost the call here. Okay, 436 Mean TV, option 11. Be patient. Call in. Do ask your question. We're talking with two members of the Rampage newspaper here, Fresno City College. Back with our program in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
All right, back here on the program, Connect with me, 436 Mean TV, option 11, and I want to ask our guests here, so what, in your opinion, is the golden rule as far as being a reporter is concerned? What's the number one golden rule?
I would say getting the truth would be the golden rule. Getting the information, but getting it correctly and telling the whole truth.
Okay.
And I would agree as well. It doesn't matter what story it is, as long as what you're reporting is factual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the most important thing.
And how do you get to the bottom of something, an issue, an event that happened? How do you get to the truth, in your opinion?
You don't want to always stick to one source. You know, if somebody tells you something, you might also want to ask this person that's kind of like an expert at it, or you don't always want to take one's word for it. You want to go and ask at least 2 or 3 more people. So to make sure that what that person said is true, or if there's anything else that you want to look into, you have that chance right there too.
Yeah,
Lauren,
and
you want to pick up on that?
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on that and be like, and just say that you also go prepared to do the adequate research for it. Kind of know the person as much as you can before you even meet them. Like if you have the option to research them or research the situation, you should, so that you have a list of things you already want to talk about. And you just know kind of the story before it's put together. Like if you can piece it together and just find what you need in the interview to patch it up and make it complete, then I think you have what you need to tell the whole truth.
Right. But in covering, say, a breaking news story, also, how do you get to the facts, in your opinion?
Well, I've never covered a breaking news story.
That doesn't give you a chance to do much research.
Yeah.
You just have to show up on the scene.
Yeah.
So you haven't experienced.
I haven't
that
experienced
yet.
a breaking news story or covering a breaking news story.
Yeah.
But
that'll come in time.
If I was in at the moment of covering one, I would have to go with the most with the source that was there, the most what's the word?
Reliable sources.
The most reliable source there.
Yeah.
So whether it's a police officer or somebody from the campus, I would go with them. And then if we keep on reporting it afterwards, then we obviously go into more depth with more people.
Yeah, it's just like the workplace shooting. We had Dennis Hart here from KMJ and has worked at just about every station in town, of course, here. One of the most recent workplace shootings that he had to cover, there were all kinds of rumors floating about how many people had been shot, how many people had been killed, what the gunman did, probably both on Facebook, on Twitter. All of these accounts were wrong at the time. And so Dennis waited and didn't report any of these erroneous, opinions coming from other people, waited for the official announcement to come from the police department, Jerry Dyer. So is that how you would approach a breaking story?
That sounds like a better way to approach it, just so that you don't report things that are not true.
Not to totally discount witnesses, but you can't put a whole lot of stock into what they say. You might be able to listen to what they have to say, but not necessarily put all your eggs in that one basket. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would try to find just as many sources you possibly can with what you know, and just talking to as many people as you can.
Right, but the main source, the main information coming from an official, like the police department,
of course,
as to actually what happened. Okay, let me ask you about these front page stories that are here in this issue, September 3rd.
Yeah, our first.
Yeah, what's that now?
It's the first one of the semester.
It's the first issue of
this
the
semester. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about police changes, alert delivery. What's that story about, and why did you choose that as a front page story there? Hold that up just for a minute.
That's a big deal because we've had a lot of issues with our alert delivery system, particularly when there have been events such as like the potential shooting or the incident, I think last semester, when a student was run over by the train, and like people weren't getting the information that they needed from a system that they're paying to get it from. Like you're supposed to get emails and text alerts saying something's happened or there's going to be a lockdown, and people either weren't getting them or they were getting them hours after the fact. So if it's being changed or altered in a way that's going to work better, people need to know about it.
Now, what is the alert delivery system? What is that? Explain that, if you would.
It's called First to Know, and it's the system
How do you get
that
the alerts?
college. You actually have to go on the college's website and sign up. It's called Web Advisor.
Yeah.
It's where you sign up for classes and all that stuff. You check your financial aid status, but they also let you sign up for First to Know alerts.
And how do you receive those? How would a student receive an alert?
When you sign up, it asks you whether you would like to receive them through email or through text, and depending on what you choose, that's how you receive the alerts.
So there were some issues with the system.
Yeah.
The alerts weren't going out.
Yeah, they weren't going out, or if they did go out, they would go out way before the event happened.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really? So what kind of changes did they make there, Lauren?
As far as I remember, they're just trying to they've been testing the system more. Like, as far as I remember, there was part of the problem with them not going out is because they were doing it one by one instead of by bulk. Like things kept going wrong with the system.
Instead of sending a bulk alert out, they'd send them one by one.
Yes. So I think they're not doing that anymore.
And one of the things that we actually heard from the police chief at the college was that. Or actually the district police chief.
Yeah.
Was that they're actually switching from that program to actually sending out tweets from their actual Twitter account, because that would be more reliable and students would be able to see it more, and they would be able to get that sooner than they would get.
So using Twitter would be faster, more efficient, and get it out to the bulk.
Yeah, because most of the students are
students.
actually on Twitter, so it seemed easier for them to do that.
Are you on Twitter?
Yes.
You are too?
Yes.
You
all
both
of us
are. So if an alert came out, boom. But that system is not in place yet.
They've actually already done
started.
That. Yeah, they've already started that.
Okay.
And you only get those tweets if you're actually following the district police.
Okay. So those tweets would come out in an emergency on campus, like
Yeah.
a gunman or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Lost the call again. I wonder if it's on our end. I wonder what's going on there. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're talking with two members of the Rampage, the Fresno City newspaper here, talking with Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez. And there's another story here on the front page talking about the budget for the college. And the headline says, of course, the budget looks good, but what does that mean? What do you mean looks good?
I actually didn't write that story, but
Right.
every issue, or actually every semester, we try to publish a story about the budget so that students know, how the money's
Where
being
you
spent.
stand.
Yeah, where we stand as far
And
as
so
money.
far, how's the budget doing?
From what I heard, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, from what I heard, it's good.
So
yeah.
if it wasn't good, this paper might not be printed, right?
Maybe I don't. I'm not sure.
Not sure?
I'm not sure if the
Yeah.
if that budget is talking about the same budget that we work with.
But see, I've worked at a newspaper, and all of these fine details have to be ironed out. Oops, got another call coming in. Okay, we'll see if this time the phone system will work or if the caller stays on long enough. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick question. Does the Rampage has a tip line? Is it only for the the campus. About a week ago, I'm from Sanger, had a bomb scare, and like in 2 minutes, the whole school came out. Okay, so I said, I usually like to tip the, stations, whichever it would be. Hey, we got something going on here, and they got those kids out of there in 2 or 3 minutes, and here comes the bomb squad and the Sanger police and all that. Now, if there's a big issue besides your campus and all that, do you have a hotline or a tip line?
What's a tip line?
Maybe you're not able to write it,
Okay.
But just seeing John asking you the questions, you'll learn more from him, and he'll learn some from you. You're young right now. The best thing is to learn from all kinds of reporters, But that's all really what I do. If you have a hotline, because something like that, a bomb scare, and I live right across from the high school.
Yeah.
I looked out, and all of a sudden they're all blocked off.
Okay. We get the gist. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, caller. So what is the tip line number if you have a news story?
Yeah, we do have a tip line number for anyone who sees anything or wants us to cover an event, which would be 442-8262. That goes directly to my office.
What's that, 442?
8262.
8262. That goes directly into your newsroom?
Yes, it goes directly to my office.
Okay, and who picks up that line? Anybody who's there, huh?
I will, or another editor or student aide that's available that happens to be around, yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the caller mentioned you guys are young, but, we were all young at one time and learning, and so there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's the way the world turns in everything. So you guys are doing a good job out there. We're talking with Lauren Baker, Crescencio Rodriguez, working at the Rampage newspaper and learning the art of being a journalist. We're back with our program. Call in, ask your question. We're back in a moment.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
Back here with Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez of the Rampage from Fresno City College, and another caller calling in. Let's see, take the call here. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me.
Yeah, so I was just calling to say that's very swell that the school has a newspaper like that for the students. I know when I was back in school, they didn't have a newspaper like that for the students, and I just want to say they're doing a very good job and looking very nice doing it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, as mentioned, I have worked in the newspaper industry, not as long as I've been in television, but I know for a fact, just from my experience there, that every fine detail that you see in the paper has to be mapped out in organized fashion. It has to be pre-planned, like the headlines here. You have to determine, see, look at the headlines. Just take a close-up of that. All right, this headline here, for example, you have to determine how big you want that headline, how bold you want it to be, what kind of lettering, how big you want these pictures, and how to fit everything in the space that you have on the front page. You know, how big will the story be? How big will the pictures be? How big will the headlines be? So who plans all that out for you guys?
All of the section editors plan out what they would like their layouts to look like ahead of time. So they'll draw out dummy pages, and then I will look at them. Our advisor will sit and look at them, and we'll talk about whether or not this story should be the main focus of their section, or how they could maybe just play it out differently. and that way we can start ahead of time and put it on the computer to see what it's going to look like, and we change it as we go all throughout production.
So is that a one-person decision or a group decision?
It's a group decision for the most part. Like particularly the front page, all of us like myself, the section editors, and our advisor all sit and look at it.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I just was wondering, when it comes to the Rampage, is it a course that is taken at Fresno City, or do you sign up to be a part of the Rampage during like an open house thing on campus, or or do you have to be a journalist major? How do you actually become a part of the Rampage? And the second question I have is, who actually has the final say when it comes to the stories that are printed in the Rampage? I mean, is it an actual professor that is there, or are the student editors that are part of that Rampage, or do they have the final say as to what goes on to the Rampage as well?
Good question. Or questions.
Yes.
Two good ones. Go ahead.
To be a part of the Rampage, all you have to do is sign up for the journalism class, Journalism 11A, B, C, or D. But you should go in order because A is for beginners and D is, I believe, editorial leadership. So it very much goes in order. They're kind of the same class as you go, but you're just expected to have different responsibilities depending on how much you want to do and how far you're wanting to go. And as far as who makes the final decisions with the stories, that is a combination of myself and the section editors. So yes, the students, it's a student-run paper, so it is the students at the end of the day who decide what's going to be going into the paper.
And do you get credit? You get for working at the Rampage? You get
well,
college credit?
It's a class, so I get a grade. Yeah,
you get
I
a grade.
Graded.
How's he doing so far? Good?
Yes.
A or B?
Oh, he's an A+ guy.
A+, A+. So, okay, we do have some more videos to take, but before we roll any of those, like the sections that you have a section, an editor for each section, like you have the news section here. Who's in charge of the front page?
Our news editor, Patrick Forrest.
Your news editor. And then you have also a sports editor, you have an opinion editor, you have, what else? An entertainment?
Yeah.
A&E.
Yes.
So you have like 4 or 5 different editors.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's roll a piece of videotape. You can take any one that you choose, and we'll talk about what we're looking at on the screen. You can look at that monitor there. What are we looking at there?
That is our Rampage newsroom. That's my office right ahead, right there, and it's adjacent to our main newsroom where the classroom takes place.
Looks like you're all geared up for Halloween there, huh?
Yes, we're very holiday enthusiastic in this place.
So you do use computers,
yes,
obviously, to write your stories, to edit them, and so you edit the entire paper on, on the computer. You do the layouts on the computer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of a system, computer system or paper system, do you use?
We use InDesign predominantly to do our layouts and to...
InDesign?
Yeah.
Okay.
InDesign is just, I think it's specifically for publishing purposes. So we use, like, you can use it for magazine type things as well, I believe, but we use it for our newspaper, and that's how we do a lot of our actual, like, design and template. We create our own templates so they're already ready to go for when we're doing layout, and we adjust them as need be.
So through InDesign, and that's a computer program,
yes,
you design the template for this newspaper, and is it the same every other week? Is it 12 pages?
We adjust it as need be. Like, sometimes we up it to 16 if it's a special edition.
Okay.
And every once in a while we may go down to 8 depending on...
Who are these people here? I know you're standing there, Lauren. You're with who?
Oh, that's Patrick Forrest, our news editor. He's the one that does the front page, and he manages the news section.
And the other young lady there?
She is Yolanda Garzon. She is our A&E editor and our copy chief. So she manages the arts and entertainment section, and she also oversees any grammatical errors for every single story that goes in the paper.
Okay, you got spell check, because listen, working at the newspaper, I know for a fact you have to get every word right.
Yes.
The spelling. For example, I mean the headline. It'd be an awful thing if you misspelled the word leaders in the headline, right?
Yes.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
So how do you avoid that?
Having as many eyes on deck as possible to oversee these things during production. Of course, you want the editor to be mindful of that, but we have Yolanda, our copy chief, who do the double looking for us, but we also like our reporters and just any staff member to come in on production, because eventually when you're there for a long time, your eyes get tired.
Yeah.
So we need as many eyes as we can to see the things that you stop seeing.
How many people finalize this before it goes to print?
Ooh.
I don't think there's no saying how many.
But
it's
how many
just
eyes
however
are
many.
looking at it before you say, okay, it's good to go, let's send it to print?
For the most part, by default, it's all of the section editors, like every person that's managing each of these
Well,
sections.
once they get their sections done, there has to be one person or two people that look at that whole paper before it goes out, right?
It would, after the section editors, it would probably be me, my advisor, and probably, again, our copy chief.
How time consuming is that for you?
Vary. It highly depends. We strive to get done at earlier hours, but sometimes we're there till 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
if not later. It just really depends.
Yeah. It's a good thing you're 24.
I don't feel like it
right?
anymore.
What's this here? Is this part of your newsroom?
Yes, this is still part of the newsroom. We're looking more at the classroom part of it, where the actual class will sit on a, because we have class Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 to 12. So that's pretty much where the class will be during those hours. The main rooms that we're in when we're actually putting together the paper are the 2 rooms with the doors that you saw earlier. But right there is just where reporters will sit and usually work on their stories at those computers.
I see. But you don't have an actual professor that sits with you in that.
We do.
You do? Who is that?
That's Dimna Oguoju.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oguoju.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's the professor.
She
is the professor.
Yeah, she's there Mondays and Wednesdays, and she comes to our editors' meetings every Fridays, and she comes in for productions and helps us out with, the extra eyes and telling us what could be better.
Does she teach an actual class, or is it just
Yes.
putting the page? She does.
Yeah, she teaches our Rampage class, all of them. She teaches our journalism A through D classes. I believe she teaches other journalism classes as well besides the Rampage. So she's our advisor and our teacher.
Oh, okay. So you do have a professor that oversees everything.
Yes.
Including teaching a class. Okay, that looks good. And we're going to be back. We got to take a break here on Connect with Me, but you can call in at 436-ME-TV, option 11. Lauren Baker's here, Crescencio Rodriguez as well, both from the Rampage. They're students over there at Fresno City College, doing a good job so far. And if you have a tip, a news tip that you want to, pass along to these people, 442-8262. And our number here is 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back in a moment.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
Good morning. We're back here on Connect with Me with our show. Only a few minutes left, of course, here talking about the Rampage and Fresno City College. Roll another piece of videotape, if you would, and we'll talk about what we're looking at here as soon as it comes up in just a moment. We're talking with both Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez. This is the printing press at Willems, and this is where the Rampage is printed. What, 3,000 copies every other week?
Yes.
From what I understand, right?
Yes, sir.
You ever been out there to see it print?
No, but I've always wanted to. I think the only reason I don't is because we're there so late that by the time it goes to print, which is usually I think at 4 or 5 in the morning, I don't want to.
Wow. So this comes out every other Wednesday then?
Yes. Yes.
So it's got to go to print. What's the deadline on Tuesday night?
I don't know if there's a specific deadline just because it doesn't always go at the same exact time just because of how long it takes. I think it's just as long as it's before, like for example, if we wanted to be there by 8, I think it needs to be in there by like 11 o'clock at night or something.
So if you have a story that you're writing, Crescencio, then it has to be done by what time on Tuesday night?
Well, preferably we would like to have stories in before
Tuesday.
Before Tuesday. Yeah, before
But
Tuesday.
if not, if you're doing a late story that just happened on Monday and you need to need a day or so to work on it, you're what's the deadline? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night?
I would say maybe 7 o'clock.
On Tuesday evening.
Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
It all depends on if the reporter wants to come in and work.
Yeah, because this thing goes to press, you got to have it done. There has to be some sort of a deadline.
Yeah.
And so how does this get emailed to Willems Printing?
Yes, our production manager sends out a PDF of the paper to the printing company.
Okay, and then it comes out, and then they come out and they deliver all the papers to you guys. So what are your aspirations? What do you want to do? You want to be, let's start with you.
Okay.
What are your goals, in other words? Do you want to stay in the media? Do you want to stay, as we continue to look out there at the Willems Printing Press and their room out there where they hold this huge, gigantic press and all the paper there. They do several publications, by the way. They were guests here on the program. Your goals are what? To stay in the business or what?
Yeah. After college, I would like to still be in the journalism business, and whether it's still print or broadcast journalism. I mean, because journalism is a passion for me. Like it's my passion. So now, what I want to do after college is just that. Like the caller that called in said. Do we have a call? Or
yeah, that's okay. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm just kind of wondering, is Fresno City thinking about expanding its journalism into, say, television broadcasting and that kind of thing for students?
We are interested in media aspects. We don't have everything we need to do that yet, but we have been trying our hand at more media things. For example, we've been taking our pro-con section from the opinion section and we've been turning it into a video. So if you follow our YouTube channel, you can see our pro-con debates as video audio now instead of just reading it.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yes,
The
we
Rampage
do.
does?
Yes, we have something on almost every social media outlet. We have an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook, our actual website, and we have a YouTube.
And can you read this paper online if
Yes,
you
you
wanted
can.
to? For
Yes,
free, or do you have to pay?
Oh, no, it's free.
It's free?
Yes.
It's free. But, so to get to the YouTube channel, how do you do that?
I believe our channel is FCC Rampage. It's like youtube.com/FCC Rampage.
Oh, I see.
Yes, that's where we've been uploading our pro-con debate videos, where you'll see an editor and a reporter just hash it out over a certain topic.
Like it could be abortion, it could be politics.
Yes, it could be anything.
Anything. The debate over marijuana.
Yeah.
So what's the big issue on campus right now, in your opinion?
Big issue on campus.
Yeah. What's the biggest topic on campus right now? What would it be? Anything that has to do with what's going on politically outside the campus, or what?
It's a toss-up. Like the last two things I found of interest that are kind of big deals is there's supposed to be a new program that might be coming into play where law students specifically, they can get their AA and then transfer immediately to a law school without going to, say, Fresno State to get their bachelor's degree. I've heard about that being a possibility. There was some kind of forum about it. I was not there, but I heard that was something that's being talked about, as well as the possibility of Fresno City College being among the first to have a bachelor program being implemented so that students can be there and get their bachelor's and not just their AAs.
Now, what are your goals?
Mine are interesting. Because I originally wanted to be a cartoonist, but now I've found a love for journalism. I've been moving up, and I'm looking to stay in journalism. It's just a matter of what do I want to do with it. Because I am interested. I'm interested in doing human interest stories and continuing to write, but I'm also interested in just being maybe a layout person, like specifically doing design.
But you realize too that the newspaper industry is shrinking. You know what's happened at the Fresno Bee in recent years, where they've downsized. The paper has kind of downsized a little bit. They've laid off many workers, as have the television stations. Do you think, has that discouraged you at all? I'll have you both answer that.
No, I'm wildly optimistic.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good or bad in this instance, but
Okay.
I like to think that things will change or like something new will come up that I can serve.
How about
in some
you?
way.
Well, it actually has discouraged me a bit. You know, it's that feeling where, okay.
It's happening
no
in
matter-
television too, though.
Yeah,
Television and radio. Everybody's downsizing.
Yeah, but I think, you know, the harder you work and the more you learn, you get more skills and experience.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
as long as you're multifaceted, you should be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in. The hour is up. Crescencio, appreciate your time and good luck to you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having us.
and good luck to you, Lauren.
Thank you
I
as well.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you. Come back again.
We'd love to.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Lauren Baker and Crescencio Rodriguez of the Rampage. Here it is, the Fresno City College newspaper. Back tomorrow with another edition of Connect with Me, including a business segment and also Lisa Gamoyan running for Fresno's Superior Court Judge. She'll be here in the studio. Back with another edition tomorrow. See you then.